Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. We have two legends going at it today. Two of the strongest players historically of all time. In the top left, Stork. Of course you know Stork. In the bottom left, Bisu. Playing TERRAN. Oh my god. I don't know what this is going to look like. My guess is Stork is going to trounce him. But who knows? Some of these pros have very strong off races. It is worthy of mentioning that Bisu was a TERRAN player before he switched to Protoss. So I don't know. Like maybe he has a better feel for it because of that or something. There are some certain pros that are extremely good at their off races. Like Light's Protoss is one of the stronger Protosses out there. He almost qualified for KSL with it. Obviously, Flash got to the top of the ladder with Protoss and went top 4 in ASL with Random. Best is extremely good at TERRAN. Shine actually has really good TERRAN. And everyone can play Protoss. So, we'll see how this one goes down. We are on the map Retro, and I'm just excited to see what Bisu wants to do strategically. I bet you it's a gasless expand, but honestly, his building placement isn't super good for that. Okay, yeah, see, he's gonna go down, make it next to where the next was, maybe? No, right there? Okay. I think it's gonna be gasless expand. Protoss players all seem to think that that is like the strongest build. Yeah, Stork, I feel like if he just plays his game, it might be hard for Bisu to do too much against that, especially considering the map. Retro is a tough map for TVP. You have to play it like really differently. It's extremely hard to get into hold 4 bases. When you think about it, no matter what strategy Protoss uses, you're always really far from one of your bases. It's not like in a quadrant. You have a 3-base quadrant that's really easy to defend, and then once you get to 4 bases, you're so stretched out that like mass shuttle or recalls or carriers punishes super hard. So yeah, that's always been a little bit of an issue. Now there goes the command center. Again, not surprised. This is kind of the funny thing. Like when you see a Protoss player talk about TERRAN, they always talk about gasless expand being really strong. And that's what Bisu's doing. And he's doing the very greedy variety with 1 depot, but he's going to be completely fine on that. There's no Zealot that was made, so that's the only thing that could mess you up. If they go, basically, there's the hard counter. Well, obviously, like center gate is a really hard counter to something like this. But like the hardest counter from a normal build against a gasless expand is if they go for a Zealot first and the probe goes in the wrong direction. So because then the Zealot comes out and will show up at your base before a probe. And that is like red lights, full alert, you're screwed type of TVP situation. Obviously, we see that's not the case. Stork has scouted around quite a bit with the probe. He knows now that the bottom left is exactly where Bisu is. And the Dragoon going to catch this SCV. That's why he sent it that way. He sees the probe. The probe was the SCV was going around doing like a regular box scout. No end scout here because you are not going for a factory expansion. There's no need. We have the factory on the way. Lands the barracks at the natural. And 3 Marines out in the front, actually. It's kind of interesting. And this is just kind of like trying to catch anything coming in, like a probe, whatever. He'll eventually back it up and put it in there. Maybe thinks he might be able to save the SCV by pressuring the goon back, but he's not going to be able to, unfortunately. And now the Marines will be able to go back in. Now, where is that second factory for Bisu? It's going to be a bit late. Like, you can see that he's got 200 gas, so the build isn't super optimized. The only thing that Bisu actually did wrong here, everything was perfect except he made the 3rd Marine. And in a situation like this, with your goon being chased, or your SCV being chased by the goon, there's literally no reason to make a 3rd Marine. So what you do is you skip the 3rd and you get the 2nd factory quicker. But other than that, the build is really good. Looking at Stork space, his Nexus almost done. Robo on the way. He already has range and is sending a couple of Dragoons down. And it looks like he wants to go for a 3rd Nexus immediately. So this is going to be the way that he tries to catch up, is a little bit of pressure here. You know, it costs some minerals to repair. And then, of course, 2 SCVs that are no longer mining minerals for you, excuse me. Siege tank on the way. eBay coming up. That's a pretty quick eBay. This feels like a... Oh, I'm not sure if he went range into DT's eBay. Because you wouldn't need it against shuttle quite yet. Like, you'd start it closer to 5:30 to stop a shuttle coming in, and if you thought it might be DTs without range, you would have started it 30 seconds before it was started. So, yeah, it looks like that's kind of the idea that he's going for. He would probably just throw a turret somewhere in this area, and that'll make him pretty safe. Maybe one up here as well. Now, double factory siege tanks look to be the order of the day. Siege mode is going to be done pretty soon. It's only 3 goons, so you can go up and poke. If it's 4, you want to be very careful about that. Stork, in the meantime, getting his Reaver ready. Turret being made kind of in a middle groundish area that would just detect DTs trying to run past the bunker, but not DTs attacking the front of the bunker. Bunker actually gets busted. Hey, look at that. Okay, well, third Nexus gets started here from Stork, throwing down a few pylons. Instead of walling this area, looks like he wants to wall here and here to just stop vulture harassment. Goon in the shuttle, ready for that Reaver to come as well. Remaking the bunker. We don't see an armory. We don't see other factories either. I feel like we're going to see 2 more factories go down. Oh, he stops on... I'm sorry, he stops on 3 tanks, so he might just attack now. This is just a pressure attack. I'll talk about that in a second, because we have a Reaver drop coming in, and I think this will just turn the army around. So, Stork flies right past that 1 missile turret, right? It was kind of a line trying to be greedy, covering everything, and it's just not quite doing that. So, it doesn't take full shots, but gets some good damage on these SCVs already. Oh my god, gonna get rid of that turret so he can get out of here as well. Goes towards the main base. No real defense here. Ooh, nice job by Stork, just dragging those mines. Still getting some value there as well. Only 3 Dragoons sitting at home for Stork. So this little tank marine push doing a good job. The 2 other goons come down. No micro here from Stork. I guess he's just microing the Reaver right now, but that's not very good because he's lost like 5 goons already. There's mines everywhere. There's a vulture getting into his main base. Oh my god. Oh my god. Stork is like taking incredible amounts of damage right now. But he is dealing a lot of damage. Bisu is not mining from his natural. He's having a hard time holding on. There's like, look at this. SCVs are trying to fight a Dragoon over here. That's not necessarily very good. The tanks are like killing an unpowered robotic support bay. I'm not sure that that's really that valuable right now. Excuse me, sorry. And yeah, this is a wild game. You know, I think the big issue here was Stork not controlling his Dragoons during the attack. Just kind of attack moving them into the army of Bisu there. Would have been better to run, would have been better to micro them, anything other than the way that he controlled. Now, Stork just kind of shoving goons in. He knows that he has enough now to break through this. He's not going to end up losing any Nexus. He is up on workers at the moment as well and has those 3 Nexuses. So, Stork right now can go ahead and refill that probe count pretty quickly. Bisu doesn't have a lot going on. He's got +1 started, couple tanks, only 2 factories. We're 9 minutes in. So that's not a very good situation to be in. Yeah, I definitely like this game heavily right now for Stork. And again, like the control of those 5 goons, the fact that he just had like 3 goons fighting and then just attack, move 2 more into it. And it's like, well, I mean, that's the Terran units win in that situation always. You have to like decide you're going to micro that, but he was microing the Reaver really, really heavily. And I don't think it added as much damage as the damage Bisu got by Bisu controlling the tank push better, right? And that's one of the hard things about StarCraft is deciding where does your attention go. That's the biggest resource. And that's actually one that maybe Stork has slightly less of than some people as well. Stork, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and forgive me if I am, For ASL level players, I do believe he is the slowest of everybody. He's always been like slightly slower than a lot of pros. And, you know, some people look at that and say, well, that must mean he's really smart or whatever. And yeah, I mean, you can say it however you want, but that if you're a little bit slower, it can be a little bit harder for you to do as many things at once, right? So just throwing that out there is maybe part of the reason why that was a tougher situation for him than maybe it would be for some other Protoss. Now, range almost done for Bisu. Getting his Goliath out. He's got 4, so he can 2-shot a shuttle. Going up to those 5 factories. But pretty darn far behind. Down 13 workers at the moment. Yeah, I really don't like this for him. Stork taking top right. I mean, all of us have been in a position that looks similar to this one that Bisu is in right now, where you just know how the macro is going to scale, and Bisu's going to have a really hard time just even maxing out. Like, getting a third base up and running is going to be very, very difficult, I would call it. We'll see what his plan is for that. Like, maybe he tries to go into an attack, but I don't think the army supplies are going to be correct for that either. Like, you can see a ton of gateways being added for Stork. He's almost got shuttle speed. He's almost got legs. He's almost got +1. A lot of good things going on for Stork right now. His army is just going to get bigger faster. 4th Nexus is almost done. Really reasonable probe count at 63. Templar Archives coming up as well. So we're going to have 10 gates producing against 5 factories. And you're already down. Well, 15 of that is workers. So we should take that into consideration. Looks like he ran out and sniped the shuttle, so that's nice. But 15 of that is workers, so let's call it 120 against 93. So it's like a 25 army supply advantage, but also producing army twice as quick. So that is not like a winning situation for Bisu if Bisu attacks. Now, if Bisu wants to just come up here and like hold this position and take a command center, I like that move. And that's what he's going to do. So he looks at this. He knows the Protoss side of things. He knows that this is a tough spot. So takes that command center. He's got enough units up here that Stork can't really break this. But if Stork starts rotating a little bit, like let's say Stork moves his army here, you have to move units from here down here. Maybe you want to build buildings here to kind of tank and help defend. See, notice how he's starting to move around a little bit. Excuse me. Shuttle still flying about. You see Stork starting to rotate. Double speed shuttle. He's got the Zealot legs. He's got the +1. And, well, just going to fly into the main. Okay, so this is a pretty popular move. Dropping this much off in the main, you have to send units in to deal with this. And basically when you send in the units, what Protoss does is they attack, move in. So you see there's quite a bit of supply up here, right? Right now you can see it's like, okay, you have several tanks coming up to deal with this. Will Stork attack in at this time? I don't know. This doesn't look that good of a position to attack in. Of course, he has the observer checking that as well. It would have been really smart for Bisu to have a turret here to push that back and maybe get Stork to make the mistake of attacking in. Because if Stork wastes a big chunk of army there, maybe that's where Bisu starts to get into a position where he can fight back in this game. And more gates going up in the top right. So it looks like going up to 14 gates right now. Second robo as well. All right, he is going to run in. Ooh, very cost inefficient with those zealots on the mines, but gets the good storms down onto the siege tanks. Dragoons running up. Oh, God, another very good Psy Storm. I like the tanking of the Archon Morph as well, so you could get that second Psy Storm down. Goons pull back. Always good to save your goons. A lot of vultures rotating towards this top right. Preventing this natural is good for sure. Kill a DT, okay. But I don't think you can do, excuse me, anything up here. Plenty of cannons. Obviously, units are going to be popping out of there, so the vulture's not going to be able to do too much. More zealots coming down to join Stork's main army. Bisu trying to get these defensive positions, but I think he's just going to get broken. You see he's down 50 supply at the moment. Stork gonna run in here once again. Drags through the mines there with those zealots, and yeah, this is like he's reducing Bisu's tank count enough that it becomes like really impossible to remake it, right? You have 2 add-ons here. It's still 5 factories going up to 7. Only 7 factories at almost 16 minutes is pretty rough. Really, that's about like this is the time where either you're killing your opponent or you're having your 4th. And we don't see either of those things happening here, unfortunately, for Bisu. Stork running around, brings in a storm drop to this 3rd base. Doesn't get that much damage with it, and it does end up losing it. Looks like Bisu's still trying to focus on slowing down an additional base up here, but he's got to take good engagements elsewhere also. Has to think about that 4th base. Because it doesn't feel like he's getting ready for a timing attack, right? Like 132 supply. I mean, that's reasonable. You can definitely hold on with that. But how many times can you hold on with that? I guess if you deny this base like indefinitely and Bisu stays on 4 bases, like that could work. I mean, Stork stays on 4 bases, that could work. But it just doesn't seem too realistic, right? It's like just a small group of vultures out there. It will eventually get dealt with. Stork will continue to expand around the map. And, you know, Bisu, if he ever does end up pushing out these goons that you're like running around with, clearing mines, clearing vultures, you can simply bring them back to the front to take your full engagement. Let's see what Bisu's plan is. He does have that +2 started now. High Templars as well as Zealots going into these shuttles for Stork. Stork very close to maxing out now. Lots of observers and shuttles being made. Double Forge is upgrading. So he's actually like getting ahead on upgrades compared to Bisu, I think. Yeah, slightly. Goons coming over here to catch all these vultures. Probe coming up for another base as well. So Stork right now on 5 bases, getting ready for his 6th. Bisu coming out, trying to clear a little bit in the center. You can see he sets up like a, what is this, a honeycomb structure of siege tanks. It's a strong shape, right? Trying to get that good spread so Psy Storms can't do too much, as Zealots aren't going to bring too much splash. It is a good setup, but he's in such a defensive spot, and you can see how far away this base is from this base. Like, Stork can run over an area. If your units are here, he can kill this. That's just the way that it is right now. See, he's got 4 speed shuttles. Like, Stork may just attack into here and try to kill it, and that might work as well. But, like, this is super weak. Like, as soon as you offload shuttles here, the base is dead. Bisu's storming ahead, trying to check how many units are coming in so he can have his army positioned correctly. Has a good amount of Goliaths. Maybe he can pick off some of these shuttles as they fly in. Shuttles, though, starting to unload. Psy Storms all over those siege tanks. Still a very good spread of tanks here. Doing his best to trade efficiently. Stork, though, starting to clobber through a little bit. And it looks like we are going to have all those tanks erased. Cancels out this 4th base location. And honestly, this is about game. There's no possibility of coming back. You see another Nexus is up, so it's 6 base against 3, twice as many bases here for Stork. You're running out of minerals at this point. The upgrades, not fantastic. You will have 2-2, but you can see the amount of supply being put out. It's like 112 against 180 right now. One more round and Stork is max, but several more rounds for Bisu to max. And he just doesn't have the money to do it either. Lots of new shuttles waiting as well. Bisu gonna try to set up one more time. A lot of cannons up here. Not gonna be able to do anything with 2-2 vultures against that. This would take like, you'd want like 23-2 vultures to raid a base like that, but a good economy behind it. That's like, that's a very good anti-vulture defense. Of course, not quite as good as 3 pylons there, but close. Stork just kind of like shoving the units out of here, right? You can see he like moves down here, moving back up. He's just kind of getting Bisu to not be on the map. And I think this is going to be the death blow. There's just no way. There's like no anti-air here. The shuttles are going to dominate. Like, he's got the Archon for some tanking. He's going to have Zealots coming in from the sky and from the ground for tanking as well. Dragoons lead the path here for Stork as he flies in with these shuttles. Decent pick off onto one of them. But yeah, that's really going to be that. Bisu just not even really mining at this point. He's got 1 base left, just a few patches. And Stork going for that victory. Well, honestly, like, I'm happy to have seen and gotten to cast Bisu's TERRAN. Like, I mean, he hit the opening build, but yeah, hard to play your off race, I guess, against a monster like Stork. All right, that's it. GG. Stork takes down Bisu's TERRAN. Thanks for watching.